Housing deficit is one major problem in Nigeria right now. And of course, the rift between landlord and tenants is something that has been for a very long time. And to the extent that people are losing their lives as a result of these problems that comes up between landlord and tenant, which is mostly as a result of housing deficit in Nigeria. Welcome to this edition of The Review. On today's review, we'll be looking at something very critical, and it is human related. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and joining me on review this morning is Michael Ekenedelechuku. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Ramsey.
How you doing?
I'm all right, thank God.
Well, I know that in almost all the papers this morning, the situation in Lagos where a landlord died because of a face-off between him and his tenant is something that a lot of people are talking about right now. The problem of landlord and tenant is not something that started today.
Yes, sir.
It has been. And this thing still continues. And one of the reasons why these things keeps happening is because a lot of people don't have their own houses. A lot of people are living in rented apartments. And the law spelled out certain things. But these things, a lot of Nigerians don't even know it.
They don't know that. Yeah.
And landlords take laws into their hands and all of that, and this happens. How did you feel? Because we're going through the papers, okay, and in almost all the papers we saw it. Landlord died after a face-off with the tenant, after an argument and all of that. The police is involved right now, and they are in search for this tenant. What do you think about this?
I think it's been happening, sir. Trust me, because I've had personal experience.
Oh, you've had personal experience?
Yeah, that's why I'm laughing. It's funny because if I retrospect and go back to that memory, it's funny how a landlord comes to me and tells me, "Hey, your rent has expired just a few days ago, just 2 days time, and you face being evicted." And I laugh. I was like, "Sir, don't you know there are laws between landlord and tenancy law under the law? I mean, a tenant who is on a premises rented for 6 months, under the law, it says that you have to give that tenant 3 months eviction notice before you can even step to his door to tell him, hey, I've given you 3 months eviction notice and you're still occupying my premises. And if that tenant is on yearly rentage, he pays you for a year and it expires and he's not renewed the rent, you as a landlord has no right to go to his door for confrontation until you've given him a 6-month notice. It is spelled out. It is stipulated on landlord/tenancy law. It is under the law. Now, there's also a very, very expedient law that is there that says, not disturb the tenant's quiet and peaceable enjoyment of the premises.
Peaceful and quiet enjoyment.
That was what led to this man's death. He went to disturb the peaceable and quiet enjoyment.
Let's get this straight. When they say enjoyment, okay, it should be in quotes.
Yeah.
Your enjoyment shouldn't infringe on other people's enjoyment,
Absolutely,
other
yes.
people's right. Because
Yes.
I've had situations whereby some tenants will be playing music,
Loud
will be
music.
living very
Yeah,
lousy.
yeah.
You know, they feel they're enjoying and they are littering things around in the name of enjoyment. I just came back from eatery. You eat and you throw things in the name of enjoyment and all of that. So this enjoyment, I think it has a limit, right?
It got to a time where I was chilling. Let's go to the enjoyment part here. I got back, I traveled, and I have some friends that came over. And because the noise was too much, my next door neighbor told the landlord, called the landlord, didn't talk to me, called the landlord. That was somewhere in Abuja. And the landlord came and told me, hey, you were doing something and some people were disturbed at night. I was like, sir, I have a right of privacy. And if my friends that just got back from somewhere they went to in the bush and they're enjoying themselves, I mean, we have a right of privacy. But then I apologize to the tenants because it shouldn't be to the detriment. The noise should not be so loud that it disturbs every other tenant.
I think I have that understanding. That's one thing people should know.
That's very clear.
Okay.
And if you have that issue with your fellow tenant, talk to the fellow tenant. Do not always involve the landlord. The issue that
Yes.
causes this landlord confrontation between tenants is when the tenants see themselves as arch rivals and they report straight to the landlord instead of talking straight
Some
to their fellow
tenants are very
yeah.
funny. Some
Very.
tenants don't cooperate at all. They don't have cooperation between themselves. So you get some places and see that the tenants are divided. Some are in the part of the landlord. Some are not on the part of the landlord. But if a landlord is good, why not? Everyone, at least if you are a tenant and you are in somebody's house, at least to an extent, there are some things that you should do and you should know that this is not your personal house. But then some tenants are so lousy and some landlords are not supposed to be talked about. In fact, some are not human at all.
Some tenants are even very, very envious when you move into a place and you have a car and they don't have a car, or you buy an AC or a big generator. They'll say, sir, you're disturbing us with this noise of generator. It's later when light is a blackout, that's when they'll know they need your generator to charge their phone.
Well, the issue of tenants, but it's so unfortunate that Benjamin Ape is
absolutely
late right now. And someone was saying, well, we just had of arguments. They were arguing. There was nowhere in the story where it says the
physical.
tenant hit him. There wasn't a physical combat. But then we just have to be careful the way we talk to people, the words we use, because I think according to the daughter said there was some words, frightening words that were used.
Most landlords, I'll say this again very crystal clear. I make it crystal clear. Most landlords are very intimidating. What I mean, okay, I own a house, you just came to rent it, you have to obey me. This person is coming from a different background, either military, police, either a family that did not know love, either the father was abusing the mother, so he didn't know love. He might attack you. Most landlords don't understand that. They want to intimidate you. Imagine a landlord telling me, I give you 24 hours because you moved the gate and something spoiled. I give you 24 hours to fix it. Some landlords in Nigeria do not take responsibility when there's a little fault in their compound. The issue of water, maybe you're trying to pump water as a tenant and the water spoils. The landlord will tell you, contribute money, let's fix it. Why some landlords, they'll be fine, they'll say, oh, let me send money, it's my house, let me fix it. Because under the law, the landlord is meant to provide a habitable house for the tenant in cases of damages, security.
I think it's part of the reason why some people pay caution
Yes.
fee. But then, we need to balance the whole stuff, because some tenants are so careless.
There's a video trending. There's a video trending
already.
Some tenants beat up a landlord.
The landlord
released his dog to attack the tenant. The tenant had to hit. In fact, they gathered him. They wanted to kill the man.
A landlord released his dog to attack a tenant living in his house?
Yes. The video was trending online just a few days back.
Wow,
so
that's
things are happening.
bad.
Landlords,
That's bad.
some of them are very unscrupulous.
That's
Some
bad.
are demonic.
That's deadly.
Some will remind you that
Dog bites?
Some will remind you that you're
Was it a threat or he meant it? He meant it.
An inhumane trip. Release the dog on the tenant that you haven't paid my rent. Remember, most landlords do not have knowledge of these laws.
They don't know it.
They don't know that.
But whose responsibility is it to tell them, or they are supposed to know? Because at least tenants they cooperate between themselves, within themselves, to know one or two things. I think there should be also landlord associations, because some landlords are not read. Some are not read. Some didn't go to school, but they have children who are schooled, and they have landlord association.
Yes, they do.
Where they have some landlords who are even law abiding. Some are even barristers. Some are custodians of the law. So I think this constitution, this law should be made known to people who are not read, so that some landlords don't take laws into their hands. And even tenants too. Tenants should also know that there are some laws that also prohibit them from doing certain things in people's houses.
Yeah, very well, because it is very alarming. It's happening everywhere. Like every day, you see landlords confrontation. It's dehumanizing, because you make the tenants feel like they haven't started, they're not working hard enough. Sometimes you push them to do things that are unlawful, criminal activities. They want to impress and be able to pay rent. They will have to go into criminal activities and all that. Landlords should take it easy to also remember that tenants are humans and they are working hard, and things are not easy from the economy. Everybody's trying to earn, to pay, because 1 year now is just like 6 months.
Before you know, 1 year it's gone.
1 year is gone.
Before you know, 1 year.
This laws,
one year has come and gone.
I mean, there are laws that say it shall be unlawful for a landlord or his agent to demand or receive from a sitting tenant rent in excess of 3. Some landlords will tell you before you move in, you pay 3 years or 2 years. It is unlawful.
It's unlawful.
Very unlawful. Now, it shall be unlawful for a sitting tenant to offer or pay rent in excess of 3 months in respect of any premises. That's why the Bible says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." People take laws into their hand because they don't know these laws. Some tenants do not know that you are entitled to receive 3 months eviction notice from a non-law court, a law court, not from the landlord. The landlord wants you to be evicted, and you're within 6 months rent.
So the landlord tells you with his mouth, you'll be waiting for a written document, an eviction notice from a law court.
From a law court.
Wow.
Not from the landlord. And if you're on yearly rentage, I've done that myself, actually. There was a time a landlord tried to mesmerize with me. I told him, "Sir, I know these things. I'm educated." Most Nigerians are not educated. They don't know the laws. That's why they're always victimized. What happened to me, the case of Mr. Happy, so rest in peace. But if he understood that the tenant has a right of quietness and peace, it is stipulated under the law, he wouldn't go to confront you. Just give him a notice through a law court. If he refuses to pay your rent, go to a law court and get an eviction notice.
Okay, go to the law court and get an eviction notice. And one other thing again that actually make life very difficult for people who are looking for accommodation is the agent. You talked about it.
Yeah.
The agent, the way they even increase the prices of facilities is to the extreme, because from that they make more money, and the landlords are quiet about it. There is a collaboration between landlords and agents where they increase prices of rent, and the landlords are quiet because what the agents are doing for them is to increase the money. I think one of the things that the federal government should do is to abolish this agent thing. If you have if you have a house and you want to put it on rent, write it boldly. Okay, house for rent, hang it on the gate or on the door and put your number there. People will come look for you. This is what big companies do. If you go into estates, this is what they do. You come in front of an estate, you come in front of a house, you see a banner, you see the name of the company, and you see the number to call and all of that. But these agents, they are the ones causing problem, and they are putting landlords in trouble.
Very well.
Because look, Mr. Ape is gone. Mr. Apet died in the process of this argument. We don't know what really happened. It was as a result of rent, according to the story. But then we don't want anyone to kill anyone, all right, because of rent issues. But then if you're talking to anyone, people are facing so many things. Some people are hypersensitive, have hypertension. All right. People who have hypertension and who have problems, maybe just shouting at them and they want to talk. Before you know it, somebody has died.
This is just the one we're
Before
seeing on
you
paper.
know, you are angry. This is the one we're seeing on
the ones that
paper.
are swept under the carpet. This one happened in Shagamu, Ogun State. There was some that happened in some rural areas.
Some rural areas that we don't even hear.
We don't even hear them.
Even in Abuja here, in Lugbe, in Maraba, in Dede, in Zuba, in Suleja, in Gwagwalada, in Kuje, so many places. These things are happening. These things are happening that we don't know.
Because the landlords will just bring the police and arrest the tenant. Tenants will not have someone to even bail them.
Trust our brothers now. If they call police, first of all, you need to go there first.
Yes.
At least the bailing money, at least is something.
But it seems my personal experience with them, they understood that this person actually has knowledge of the law, landlord and tenancy law. So I couldn't be victimized. I've
in your own case,
I've encountered intimidating landlords, and I put them in the state
where
of
they belong
humility,
because you know the law and you know your rights.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell them your law. If you're talking about police, there are people that knows the DPO. And DPO will tell you this is what you should do. Do not intimidate tenants because you feel you're superior. That inferiority complex that every tenant feels because of lack of knowledge. So Nigerians should please get knowledge. It's very expedient for you to be informed. If you're not informed, you're deformed.
You're deformed. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it. All right, this is going to be the size of the review today. We actually had to talk about this so that you will be informed and not deformed. As a matter of fact, you have your right as a tenant living in any landlord's house, in as much as the landlord also have his own rights too. But nobody, not the landlord, not the tenant, should take laws into their hands, and everyone should live peacefully. All right, because in some cases the landlord may not be a bad person, maybe somebody around the landlord, or maybe our friends, maybe even the agents who cause these problems most times. But then the bottom line is there should be peace in Nigeria because Nigerians are facing so much. But we want to say, may the soul of Benjamin Ape, who died in this process, rest in peace. And at least the police should do their job so that justice will take its course. This is going to be the size of review for today. Thank you very much, Michael, for joining me on today's review. I'll come on your way again, same time, same station tomorrow. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Bye-bye for now.